Number 1, there we go. Sin Academy taking on Team Noxide.
And now, really, like I was mentioned before, it's go time for these teams.
Oh, yeah.
Sin Academy, sitting comfortable, have those extra wins on their back. Team Noxide have something to prove. Want to say, all right, we've got our strategy in place. I do want these guys to remain standard. I want to see a strong 1-4. I want to see either a 1-3-1 and them actually perform on it. Because if they're able to do that, they can translate that to those higher tiers of competition.
But at Team Noxide, do they have that competitive experience that will allow them? I mean, sometimes a 1-3-1 composition can be hard to run, and players like Relics and Jopan don't exactly have the best kind of experience, and especially now that they're running the sub, there is no reload pool in the bottom lane for Team Noxide. It could be a little bit tricky how they run this team comp.
That's right. Team Noxide have to worry about that as well, because all of a sudden, having that extra member that is not as experienced, doesn't have the synergy. I mean, I always love to use that analogy in the bot lane. It's a marriage. They need to be there together all the time to make sure they're playing.
Apparently, yeah.
So, absolutely true there.
Oh, wow. Stay tuned after the broadcast. We're getting married. Continue on.
What? Anyways, going through that there, it really does make a big difference. And all of a sudden, Team Noxide understand that how important that bot lane is. They're actually targeting that out, saying, we need to make sure we've got some priority there. Let's get rid of some of those more comfier champions that Squidgy likes to play.
And of course, you see that Tristana, Caitlyn, and Galio off the board by Team Noxide. Sin Academy will respond with the Elise, Fiora, and the last band to come through. Don't be too surprised if it could potentially be the Syndra, but Zac is still available.
That's right as well. I mean, they managed to take off one piece of Exodia. I mean, big thing about Exodia, though, is you do need to have the rest of those members. So when you do get rid of the Galio,
you really do like Yu-Gi-Oh! You use this every single week.
It's not even me that started this trend.
I feel like it is,
it's everyone else that it is. It's just, you know,
blame everyone else.
Fine, whatever.
Well, he does get off the board, so there's another piece.
He does get off the board. Another piece off the board, and all of a sudden, you don't really have that super strong member of team compositions that you can go for. And now I like to see what they decide to prioritize. See, as I mentioned before, for Team Noxide, they understand that that bot lane's really important for them, so it makes sense for them to make sure they get some comfortable members and get that bot side sorted out nice and quick.
Well, Sombre, of course, isn't the sub, so he's going to pick up the Ashe as a, first result. Babushka, you know, maybe not going for something like the Jhin, which has come back into priority, something that might require a bit more carry potential, whereas the Ashe, the utility's there, and the bot lane not synergizing as well. That's fine. Bring out the Ashe.
And that what it really opens up as well is that now the champions that you can choose to go for on the side of, you know, for Boast specifically, sort of unlocks him. He doesn't need to be that utility jungler anymore. Now it can be something more carry orientated, and that means that they are giving him some priority by saying, you know what, we'll give some comfortability in the bot lane with priority, but at the same time it's utility based. We've got ourselves an arrow bot. That means we can sort of branch out everywhere else along the rest of the team.
It was going to be the Xayah, and the Gragas was locked in for potentially the flex pick of Praelis and Tekka. But the Xayah, another champion. Squidgy loses this Tristana. He says it's okay. I've been playing the new champion as well. And with that one locked away, I feel like Team Noxide potentially have to answer. You don't really have to answer the Gragas, do you? I mean, you've got Galio off the board. Gragas is quite neutral. Not until he runs his fat belly into your face, but apart from that.
The thing is, the reason why he's hard to answer is purely because he doesn't really have a strong counter pick. The guy has alright clear. He's always going to be effective in those team fights towards the late game. He's very versatile. If you want him to be a bit more stronger when it comes to dealing out that damage, you can go for the Runic Echoes if you're in the jungle. And same goes for the idea from the top lane. Rather than going for those tank stats, you can go for a lot of Ages if you really want to have a bit of extra punch behind those barrels. But in the end there, they have that available towards them. Like to see what they decide to pick up, and it looks like it is going to be a jungle Gragas.
Well, I think so, because you're not going to put Renekton in the jungle. I mean, unless you're feeling a little bit ambitious or ambition, Samsung Galaxy. It's not Team Noxide get two really powerful picks, and that's the Thresh, that's the Rek'Sai. Renekton, yes, may be an answer, and it might be some kind of response towards what Team Noxide is trying to draft, but the Gnar is the first ban away by Sin Academy. They're making sure this Renekton is as comfortable up top as possible.
And it just makes sense as well. Gnar, someone has typically been getting that popularity back up there again, and the reason for that is had some recent buffs. There's a lot of tanky top laners out there at the moment, and it basically means that he's a nice, easy pick to go into it because he loves to deal with them with his percentage damage.
I think now, you know, the option is still, you know, Jax is still available. Let's be honest. Jax has been coming through as well, but maybe as a response to Camille. The LeBlanc, the first ban of Team Noxide. Ban phase number 2. There's the Camille gone.
I wouldn't mind seeing a Jax on Jopan as well. And this guy likes his carries. We've seen him go on the Camille. I mean, Fiora's banned away, so all of a sudden, Sin Academy's done their homework and figures, you know what, we need a way to deal with Jopan and the fact that he likes to go for those carry laners. Even the time that we saw him on Gragas when he plays, he was still very effective going up against it. So I really can't wait to see what he decides to do, because I know that was up against 5-8 specifically. He held toe-to-toe pretty much the entire game.
Yeah, but the problem is Team Noxide unable to pick up a win just yet, sitting at the bottom of the ladder. And this is really what it comes down to, going up against a team that could pretty much be in that top 4. And a team that has just been not really struggling through the competition, but taking ownership of that loss and bringing it right back. And Sin Academy are a foe that you have to get through here, and Team Noxide know that all too well. So Tarmkench is taken away from Mubu. That's fair enough, but okay. Is that a Gragas mid?
That is absolutely possible.
That is a Bedrix. Where else is he going to go? That's a Gragas mid?
He could go support. I mean, if you really want to take it crazy, he could go support.
Because we got Mubu support. Why do these rosters change and no one tells us? Mubu is going to be the support of Sin Academy, so maybe the Gragas support. I don't feel like Chaz would play at mid unless you go an explosive, but Orianna is going to be the response, and I can't take my eyes off this screen because Sin Academy. Interesting draft. Definitely interesting draft. And looking at Noxide's team composition, on paper looks fantastic as well. Oh, better than that. Yeah, no, absolutely.
So you can really just see it there already. You already got the protect the ADC composition if you want to go for it with the shields there. Yep. Also add to the fact that Rek'Sai, all he needs to do is land a Prey Seeker, and he's pretty much got Deliverance into a team fight. Add to the fact that you can put a Ball on there as well. Add to the fact that you can put a Shen on there as well. Next thing you know, there's going to be a lot of fun in any team fights, with a fantastic little shout from Rek'Sai before she jumps in there. Yeah, of course, Team Noxide have a lot of, I mean, I wouldn't say gap close, but you have a lot of engage potential. Oh, yes, absolutely.
You have the Shockwave. Shen can do so much as well. The final lock-in will be the Syndra. So, Renekton up in the top side, and that is going to be a Gragas support for Sin Academy down the bottom.
That is just some next-level flex there.
I'm pretty sure it's done in Korea.
First picked, and it's just like, all right, cool. We can put him in 3 spots. Can't wait to see where we decide to put him.
Triple flex. The new Galio, baby. That's like a quadruple flex, because he can go mid.
He could, yeah. Technically speaking, he can go mid as well.
Good.
So this guy's support now, jungle, mid. No wonder he's on like the nerf radars for Riot coming up into the 7.15. Yeah, Gragas. He's on the nerf radars, mate. Well, they want to hit him a little, just not a lot, not too much, because he's not one of those super priority bans at the moment. But they definitely want to hit him, take him down a notch.
I mean, that is the front line for Sin Academy, though, and they've drafted a composition which, in essence, just tells us that it is going to be Mubu going in, and then everyone can tear apart whoever he gets the explosive cask on. So there's a great engage potential from Sin Academy, but it is one member, with the rest potentially just being bruises.
And the big thing about the Gragas support as well is it comes down to him, all right, he's a very all-in.
Yeah.
His pull potential basically means he's either putting himself in danger, or it's actually quite risky, because if he misses, well, that means your ADC's in a lot of trouble. But when you've got a Xayah, someone who's got some excellent self-peel, has the ability to sort of shoot from afar, keep herself safe, it makes perfect sense, because now all of a sudden you can be more aggressive in those team fights. You can do so much more when you decide to use that cast. You can just keep on paling in, or keep on driving in there, and make sure that you got your belly in the front of everyone, making sure you're hitting all those body slams.
The belly first.
The belly first.
Always the belly
Rather than having to sit back, protect your ADC every single time.
I mean, Sin Academy have drafted you got to say, a really interesting comp here, and we've talked about how the Gragas can be useful. You know, you've got a Kha'Zix in the jungle, you've got a Renekton up top. It feels like, you know, even with the Syndra, the Xayah, I mean, the early game can be quite putrid from Sin Academy, but if they lose this hump, if they lose that momentum, Team Noxide, I mean, with the Rek'Sai, with the Thresh, with the Ashe, there is a lot of utility there, and in the late game pick potential, Sin Academy just feel like they've drawn it out. Sorry, Team Noxide feel like they've drawn out a much better scaling composition.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that as well, just purely in terms of team synergy and what they bring. I mean, like I said, we talked about the combinations before, but basically all these guys need to do is make sure they remain even in lane. Even if they fall a little bit behind, they're still going to have fantastic team fight. And what that means is when you do go for those objectives, if you do decide to go for that Elder Drake, if you do decide to go for that Baron, you do have to be watching your back every single time. You need to make sure you've got perfect vision, because when you've got engage potential that strong, doesn't matter how far ahead you are. There's a pick that could really turn a team fight, and then when you add Magic Shred going into the mix with an Orianna Shockwave, so much to worry about. When it comes to the side of Sin Academy, however, though, they do have some late game insurance. Xayah is an absolute monster in that late game. She does a lot of damage.
And in chokes as well. You just look at their team comp and you say, if you find a fight in that choke, you get Scatter the Weak. You've got so much crowd control in small spaces. Then Xayah is just going to go nuts. And it could be that they've drafted around the Xayah. It could be that Sin Academy just know where their strengths lie. And having Mubu down in the bottom lane, he was jungle, he was top, and now he's support. They just don't want to get rid of him. Let's see if he can perform third week in a row, as we will shortly be jumping into game number 1 of OCS Week 4. You can get your hashtags in on Twitter, all across the Twitch chat as well. You can go hashtag with a bit of SNA win. There you go. He's not making it up as he goes along. Or hashtag Team NX win. You can even tweet at RustyLol if you prefer. Did it last week. No one did it, but I would like to see it happen this week. So go for it. He will appreciate it. But as we jump into game number 1, Mendrix, expectations are flying high, and Team Noxide have something to prove now, at least to keep themselves safe from relegations if it's a potential.
We talked about it at the start here. We were talking about this is go time. You guys need to get those wins now, otherwise you have no real chance of making that promotion tournament. So any strategy that you may have put into place, anything that you might have come up with has to come through now, and it has to be crisp. Or, just like I said, go back to those strategies that are tried and tested, because if you're strong at them, you will get wins.
If Sin Academy pick up this win, they push themselves up. They push themselves up, 3-1, I believe. So if Sin Academy find this win here today, they start looking like that top 4, as they should, and as they already do. But they look like they can follow up on Outlaws and Abyss Academy. Abyss Academy and Outlaws are 2 teams which have just looked monstrous. Sin Academy, a couple of flaws in week 1. We didn't expect it, but it happened anyway. And you sitting at home were probably like, Chaz it up. What's going on? And that's what everyone's saying now. Chaz it up as we jump into game number 1. Team Noxide taking on Sin Academy. Our matchup to look at was Prayless versus Bose, who is going to be more influential in this early game, and who will take their team to another win.
And when you look at these jungles as well, it really does scream early game as well. Both these guys want to get out, they get the pressure, find out who's doing well on the map in whichever particular lane, and just begin to push the nail into that weakness. Make sure they can do as much damage as they can, generate a great lead, and then spread that to the rest of the team. Now, really, both these teams are just going to decide to be a little bit careful in terms of things. Just set up a nice line of scrimmage when they do decide to go for that as well, because no risks really coming through. And I guess you could say, like we said, it's that point in the competition. No longer about you trying to find your way into it. You need to make sure you do everything right.
To gank a lane as Prayless seems pretty easy. I mean, Orianna will be farming back, and Relics sure will be comfortable that you have a Rek'Sai who is quite versatile around the map and has a lot of gap close. But Chaz and Prayless have just been playing so well in this tournament so far. And an Orianna going against Scat of the Week and the huge isolation damage that can come out of a Kha'Zix, feels like Prayless will be mid, and he will be trying to make sure that Relics has no say in this game.
So the big thing here when you look at Relics as well, he's decided not to go for that cleanse, has actually chosen to take out that barrier. Basically knows that if there is going to be an unleashed power going straight towards his face, he wants to make sure he can put some form of shield up to survive against it. And although that does make sense, it comes down to the fact that you said Prayless will probably make his way there. He's got a lot of kill pressure in that mid lane, just by the fact that Chaz is on the Syndra. And it's not going to be an easy task for Prayless, to be honest. Like you said, Relics is going to be sitting back. He's going to make sure that he doesn't want to go involved in a team fight, because he wants to get towards that late game stage. That's the win condition for Team Noxide. And if you look at how safe all the other lanes are relatively, you got Ashe slow, you got the Lantern from Thresh, you've got Shen, he's tanky, also has the ability to really jump on out of there. Prayless doesn't really have that many options if Team Noxide actually play this intelligently.
You've got to assume that Team Noxide, however, understand where Prayless started, because you saw the missing mana from Chaz. It's only a little bit, but Relics would have had to spot that out, that yes, the Raptors were started and leashed by the Syndra in mid. So potentially get a 1-up on watching Prayless' path. Relics maybe just confirming, there you go, there's a ward onto red. Deep ward, deep vision.
I love this.
Yep.
So as you can see, he gets that leash. Bose has already made his move around trying to get towards that bot lane. So again, they're putting priority on that there. And when he does see that Kha'Zix has started the red buff, which typically is around this time, he's probably going to go time straight towards that bot lane. And to be honest, they do tend to push out. Xayah is a little bit of a lane bully as well, as is Ashe. So it should be fairly even across the board. And when you do add to the fact that there might be some barrels being pushed through from Gragas, should be either a relatively even lane or a great gank coming across.
Well, Bose went straight into that blue side jungle, have not picked up his own blue. And you can see this is great communication from both teams. Tekka drops a ward.
I think in the mid lane something's happening.
Blue side jungle as well. Yeah, Bose tried to make an appearance mid, but doesn't use a summoner at all. I think that's a little bit premature from the Rek'Sai, and these rotations are really important here. Prayless will spot him out.
I love this by Prayless as well. He has misspotted. Here we go.
Isolation coming through. Blast Cone is there. The knock up pops it on back. Prayless, will he leap over the wall? A ward is dropped by Bose, and he's going to heal up with the help help of Fury.
He does have his smite available to him as well, so he's in no real danger. As you can see, Praelis is making his way back in again.
Yeah, the ward will spot him out, so Bose just has to back off. He's going to knock up at least one wolf. He gets one, but Praelis to steal the other two. He's on full health, and Bose cannot challenge.
No, Bose got it.
Did he?
He smited it away.
He smote it away.
It's very good for him there. And I'm really Praelis did waste a bit of time. If he managed to get those wards out, he might have been able to actually pick up the blue instead. Goes for the greedier play, but Bose is a bit quicker for the strike there. Chaz, he's having a good time here.
Yeah, he's not hitting any skill shots. Relic's dodging all but one. And that one was massive amount of, I guess you could say, lightweight burst coming through in that mid lane. But there's still no big start apart from that small gold lead consumed by Praelis in invading that jungle.
And Praelis is going in for another invade again as well. Wisely backing away, because Bose will be fine in this situation. I mentioned before, Praelis was wasting time. All of a sudden, Bose has now got a level lead as well. So he's going to be able to go back, find some more opportunities to make those ganks work, whereas Praelis, he's got some catching up to do. Make sure he can farm the rest of those camps out.
Well, I guess Praelis can do this because, at the moment, Bose doesn't have as much kill threat as he would have liked. At level 6, though, the new Rek'Sai, online with that ult. But as Preacher would like to say, is he going to use the ult? Because no one ever uses it. Everyone gets a praise seeker and they're like, nah, I won't ult. That's ambitious.
Do you want to know why they do that? Because they're trying to go for that fancy outplay. They want to save it for when they go for those tower dives. What you do is you take up most of the damage. Everyone's having a good time fighting on through. Then you use your ultimate, makes you untargetable for that 1 second, resets the turret aggro.
Yep.
And then allows you to get the kill, get out safely, and you look stylish while you do it. And even though, you know, people have being a bit greedy for it, it makes sense to save it as well, because then all of a sudden you're making good use of utility plays, because tower dives generally lead to a tower afterwards, rather than just the kill.
Rek'Sai loves his tower dives. Doesn't always get out, however. Fun fact for you, it is going to be the coin picked up by the Threshers nowadays, which seems to be, you know, the more common option, considering how much you can spam Death Sentence. Gragas going for the Relic Shield is no big surprise, but small CS advantage down in the bottom lane. Everywhere else, you can see Renekton, as expected, is going to have one. But Team Noxide are falling behind just because of these inadvertent advantages across the map. And it's only 300 gold, but Sin Academy definitely holding strong in the early game.
And now there is going to be a bit of a power spike for Tekka up in that top lane as well. Now that he's managed to get to level 6. No one's really managed to back off this. So it would be intelligent for Praelis to make his way towards that top lane, even find a dive if possible, because Jopan hasn't had a chance to back yet. See if he can actually pick up some extra tanky items. Tekka is going to decide, though, to consolidate that lead, though. Was looking for a back to change his mind at the last second.
Jopan just getting forced up against this turret here, and no real jungle proximity, sorry. Whereas Praelis focusing on the bot side. Mubu is level 5, so he won't have that explosive cask.
Wow, this is really good. See, like, you realize how they do have all the pressure at the moment. You got the bot lane, they've back. Syndra is just being aggressive at this point in time. And immediately the whole team makes a move to get that vision down. These are the plays that actually get you kills in the very end. As you can see, because they've set that down, they just clear away. That blast cone as well means if they do want to go for that dragon, it makes it just a little bit harder for Bose to get into that pit and smite it away.
And you see, throughout the duration of OCS Split 2, there has been more priority on vision. And I mentioned this a little bit last week, but Sin Academy putting that priority in the red side jungle, getting those deep wards down, just creates so much more information and will give Praelis that freedom of, okay, Bose is on the red side jungle, I can freely go back to the blue, reset, get the timer on blue buff. And potentially Team Noxide just fall behind because that lack of vision control and getting spotted out just means that Sin Academy are one step ahead.
And it's just the small things that it gives to you as well. Because the big thing about it is all of a sudden, Sin Academy's bot lane can sit there and go, sweet, we can be as aggressive as we want to be. We see this Rek'Sai, or we see the Team Noxide's Rek'Sai coming a mile away.
As opposed to Sin Academy's Rek'Sai.
That's right, as opposed to Sin Academy's Rek'Sai, who's going to be the Kazakhs, actually, in this situation.
Very good! You know your champions.
He's going to be the Void Bugling. Both of them are Void Buglings, actually.
Alright, finally an engage coming through. Explosive cast not available, but Bushka has to flash. Death Sentence will go wide. Mubu runs away. Bose comes for a gank in the mid lane. Chaz still has flash. There we go. Has used the unleashed power. The shockwave flashes, but brings it back in. First blood for Relics. Well played by Team Noxide.
Yeah, I love how they decided to make that happen. They waited for the flash afterwards, manages to get the knock up, and then they are doing what we mentioned, that synergy between having the Rek'Sai and having the Orianna. The Shockwave afterwards, make sure she's locked down, and this is a big deal for a Syndra, who's normally supposed to have that lane priority, who's normally supposed to be sitting there having a great time at this point in the game, but here's the response.
Okay, up in the top lane, Noxide, Jopan's going to get dove, and Prayless picks up an easy kill with the help of Tekka.
And this is what we're talking about. Tekka has that advantage. He's hit a big power spike. Prayless should make his way up there. When they realize there's some action happening in the mid lane, they take advantage of that fact, know that it's going to be a safe dive, and this might actually lead to that first blood turret as well. That's one of the big advantages of making sure you have a tower dive versus your standard gank. We talked about it before.
Team Noxide, you could say that first blood mid was really essential, but Sin Academy, they get the first turret blood. It's a response, it's great, it's a 1.5k gold lead. And Sin Academy have that ability to snowball. And with a Renekton who's pretty much untouched in the top lane, you ask yourself who is going to be better in this mid-game stage. Yes, Jopan's ult. But Tekka, split pushing threat, he's already a level ahead.
And it becomes such a big threat as well because he is building pure AD. What he can do with that there is just continue to keep Chopan pushed in. If he does decide to pull the trigger to save some team fight in the bot lane, save one of his members, or make some big play happen, there will be punishment coming through from Tekka. Whether he decides to teleport in and stop that from happening, and that means that he's going to have a wave or a bunch of waves that he's going to miss because that will be pushed in for who knows how long, or the push back will actually remove most of those minion waves for him, giving Tekka a healthy minion lead back, or he's just going to take another turret.
Speaking of bottom lane though, Bose has appeared, but he looks like he's backing off. Mendrix, Team Noxide know they need something to happen bot. Thresh Ashe versus Xayah Gragas. It is simply a lane where if you do not find this pick, if you do not at least equalize across the map, especially with that bottom lane, the Xayah is going to be fine. The Gragas, if he tanks up earlier than like 30 minutes, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, it's right, and it does come to the idea that these guys are looking for picks. They need to bring Bose down here to make something happen, and that hasn't been the case yet. Bose has decided to go towards the top side. He's really just going to be cleaning up away at this point in time. The junglers need to make sure that they are pathing, remaining relevant in terms of things, in terms of levels there. Bose has that lead towards his advantage. But the thing is that all of a sudden this is a big crocodile, and we've seen what big crocodiles can do in the OCS.
Yeah, bite your face off. Not joking, Mendrix. We have seen quadra kills on Renekton's. We have seen dirty plays from Renekton's. Let's see if Tekka can do the same. A lot of expectations on this 0-0-1 Renekton. Sin Academy are looking for a bait. Now the vision control is going to help with
here
this.
We go. They know the Raptors are there.
Prey Seeker's going to find him. No scout of the week. Jumps on him anyway. Shockwave to come in. It gets two. They pick him up. He flashes into the arrow. It's a 1-for-1. Relic still chasing forward. Relics will get ignited. Uses barrier and pops on through the Weasel as Team Noxide look like they might actually have this fight. 3 members there. Mubu, you are not the jungler. You are not tanky. Sombre picks up yet another kill, and Team Noxide execute with better precision.
I was about to say, Bose, good job. You use your Prey Seeker, get on out of there, still gets engaged upon. That is a very big deal. And then, though they managed to protect him to the point, they get the shield on him from not only the Shen, but also from the Orianna. The shields were not enough. The fact that he died before he had a chance to make it there is such a big deal. But okay,
Jopan. Shen's better than Renekton. Lock it on in, and Team Noxide will also get a turret. This is been heavily weighted in Sin Academy in the past 5 minutes. Now a 1k gold lead by Team Noxide, one which they'll be very proud of.
So I was just so confused as to what was going to be happening there. I'm just going to say, all right, you know what? That doesn't go through in the end. But they used so much damage on Bose, and they just end up falling flat afterwards because they were in a bad position. I was trying to explain the whole team fight. I'm about to say how big it would have been if he was still there. Here's a big team fight, though.
Flash, body slam. Dragon's getting very low, but who is going to get it? Looks like Sin Academy pick it up with Prayless walking in last second.
Bose is gone.
In the back. Yeah, he's definitely dead. Dragon and Bose picked up. Means that Sin Academy will make this seesaw tip back a little bit in their favor, but we're still neck and neck.
And it is good as well. 13-minute mark, picking up an Ocean Drake. You love to have that in lane.
You love to see it, Mendrix.
You love to see the Ocean Drake in lane this early because now all of a sudden, even if you are behind, looking at Syndra, they're looking at Chaz right now, that's fine. If he takes a bit of poke, all he needs to do is back off just a little bit. Not too long. He'll get that extra sustain back, and then he'll be good to get back into the lane.
Sin Academy see this as an opening for the Rift Herald, and with a team composition like theirs, getting early turrets, early gold, early advantage, early bird, guts the word. Sin Academy have nothing to do but smile. And at a point like this in the game where you can dodge those Prailers. Hang on, that tilts me a little bit. Wait for the next one. We're not going to see it. Rift Herald will go over uncontested to Sin Academy. And it means that they have another opportunity to at least get one turret, which you normally see from Rift Herald, and we expect it to be that bottom turret.
Yeah, 2 big objectives straight away. Getting the Dragon, getting the Rift Herald, understanding that they took out the jungler, who was being just a little bit overzealous to think he can actually pick up Ocean Drake before. But this is a very early usage of it as well.
Didn't see that the mid lane outer was still available, but no longer, boys! Yeah, alright, Enchanted Crystal Arrow actually coming through. There's a death sentence. The Shadow Dash to lock down Prailus, big fight. Explosive Cast sends back Thresh, so now Team Noxide might be in a bit of trouble. Goes invisible, that's the Rek'Sai, but gets taken out. Prailus destroys his arch nemesis boss. Now, in the middle lane, Tekka's there, but he will go down. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Rift Herald will help get the turret. Is it still going?
It's still going.
It's just angry. It's going to die.
So they do manage to get the turret there, so I guess you could say a bit of success for Sin Academy. They do lose their top laner in response for it. So it's a bit sad for them there, but for them to get the objective, really trade 1-for-1 in that situation is not anything to be scoffing at. So Sin Academy more than happy to get that momentum as well, because now all of a sudden that opens up the next time the Dragon becomes available. Opens up the Baron, which is going to be available in the next 5 minutes. And Sin Academy still have their own turret to sort of back onto.
Feels like a game where if you talk about this replay here, this should have been clean for Sin Academy.
It would have been clean, but look at that arrow just absolutely making sure he could hold everyone down. They're still running away in this situation, but here's the big issue with that. They basically tries to jump in, get the kill, but no one's supporting Bose. Everyone's deciding to go for Tekka instead. They get the kill, and I think Bose just really just not on the same page as everyone else at the moment.
Bose did go for the kill. I mean, it's a nice animation that you can, I guess, that you can dodge the unleashed power from Syndra with a Rek'Sai ult.
So here's the thing that what it was. Basically, you can do that. That is true because you become untargetable. So anything that makes you untargetable means you can dodge those balls as they're coming on through. But what I wanted to actually discuss there is the fact that Bose was being aggressive to go into that there. Sin Academy had Tekka. He was sort of just holding the line and make sure no one else could really get towards Bose as well. That's why they were able to isolate and get the kill onto him and basically trade their laners for it. Mind you, trading the Renekton for the jungler who's behind at the moment, is not a good trade. Because all of a sudden you're getting way more experience coming on through for Team Noxide for taking down that big laner who is ahead.
Can we really understand how Sin Academy are going to play this game anymore? You got a 4-1-0, Kha'Zix. How does he turn that into an advantage for the rest of his team?
But the big thing that Kha'Zix really brings to the team, especially when he's ahead, is everyone likes to say assassination potential. No, that neutral objective control that he has is very strong because every single time you do decide to go for a Baron, you do decide to go for a Dragon, they're isolated. That is damage that is coming through. And he does so much. And Bose doesn't have that execution damage as well. So it's so much easier for Prailus to get the steals even when he's not ahead, just by merit of how his champion's kit works.
Teleport being channeled down in the bottom side. Sin Academy forcing the engage. Body Slam was used in Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but here comes Tekka. Squidgy, he's going to have to stand united. He's stunned up, body bopped, and gets destroyed. 2-man play. Still going in. It's Jopan with a 3-man taunt. Flashes away. But Sin Academy still want this fight. They're hungry for blood. And Team Noxide say, get the hell out of here. But Sin Academy, how hungry are you? No, it was just a 6-inch. They wanted a 12-inch. They didn't get it. But Sin Academy still pushing up.
No, Team Noxide do a decent job of kiting him back in that situation. Sin Academy set up a good play with the deep ward, managed to get Tekka there early, and because they do have that, that allows them to get this big team fight. Look at all this pressure they managed to put on the map. They have the lane still on top doing relatively well. We'll be pushing in towards Tekka to collect later. For them to set that up, get the kill, and now they can continue to put wards out as well. There's a Dragon in the next minute as well, and you do love to have all those wards set up nice and early.
Babushka roaming through will be spotted by a couple of wards, and Sin Academy after a failed engage. Well, I wouldn't say failed. I mean, they
got the kill.
They still got a
kill. They
used
a lot of resources for it.
A lot of resources.
I guess you could say it's one of those things where it is a relatively small return for the investment. But in the end,
I guess
they do get a lot of control in the bot lane. That's good to have, like I said before, because you got a Dragon coming up.
I guess it was a sinful engage, Mendrix. You don't find that funny. You're just laughing for the sake of it.
It was a bit gluttonous.
No, I don't get that.
Because
I know
one of
it's
the
a
7 sin.
I know it's one of the 7 sins, but it's Sin Academy, Mendrix. Okay?
Whatever.
The Academy doesn't have the 7
Don't laugh
sins
at my
yet.
joke, I won't laugh at yours then.
You did laugh at my joke, but it wasn't real. At least
It was
I laugh
a real
when the joke
laugh.
is real.
I laugh at your real jokes.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
Problems in the marriage. Dragon going to be spawning for you.
See, that's a good joke.
Thank you. Maybe just laugh at it. Don't point it. Oh, that's a good joke. It's going to be the Infernal Drake. And Team Noxide, they want this. Prayseek is going to miss. There's not going to be any follow-up, but hovering on the back of this pit. How quick can Sin Academy do it?
Quickly indeed, but Chopan's not teleporting.
Smite doesn't land, and it's going to be Bose getting taken down at the cost. The second time Bose has gone down because of a Drake.
Okay, so the big thing there was because Chopan was also a big ult!
All right. Simmer down.
I thought they were going to go on that.
The
That was
follow-up
so
would have been
good.
beautiful, but there was no Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Relics just showing he can hit him.
Oh, that was actually fantastic.
Oh, yes.
Did you just see the amount of damage? You can really...
Mendrix,
you
I was
have
there.
To worry for, you have to worry for Relics.
I was there.
Like, Relics is now a big threat for Sin Academy. All of a sudden, you can see how much damage he's done there. He has gone for an earlier power spike by getting the Leandri's Torment instead of opting in for one of the other items like the Death Cap or going for an earlier Void Staff. This means that he will be relatively weaker when it gets towards that early late game until he does pick up that final build.
Relics picks up blue buff without it resetting. That's the first goal. 3-0-2 on this Orianna and has opted in for the Leandri's build. That means second item is going to be offering so much penetration, especially against a team composition that I guess is going to be Bruiser. I mean, you got a Renekton and you got a Gragas who will obviously be building magic.
Definitely works out well. Works well with the passive that provides that burn damage on the percentage health. So those two big beefy members will not be as tanky as I would like to be. And especially if Ashe gets a Blade of the Ruined King, she certainly does have one there. So all of a sudden, those guys are not exactly as strong as they want to be in this late game.
I think we can't talk about Sin Academy's warding enough, though, because there are so many moments where they're just spotting out Team Noxide's movements. Whether they're moving towards that Baron, securing topside vision, pushing it out. Sin Academy look like they'll know. And you've got someone who can rotate very, very easily in the Kha'Zix, in the Gragas again. And when I say that, I mean...
It goes back to the plays that they've already made. I mean, they've got 2 dragons to their name. They're able to set that up because they had that deep vision earlier. And any play that they've really had there has been from their vision game. It hasn't really been from them, you know, sort of like, I'm going to mechanically outplay you in the situation. No, they just had pressure at the right moments in time, and they've capitalized off on it. And that's why I guess you could say they're going head-to-head against Team Noxide at the moment. But these are items, or these are objectives that help them out towards the late game, where Sin Academy really do seem to thrive. It's been close games where they get to that late point, and then they win.
Is that always going to be the case?
Well, I don't know. Noxide have got a great composition in the late game.
Team Noxide have a great one shockwave, one arrow. Goodbye, as it misses. Sin Academy, you know, they will...
Ships passing in the night.
Yes, they've got Isaiah, but Ashe, Orianna, Shen. There is so much that Team Noxide can work with here. And it feels like Sin Academy that is just not going to be able to execute as easily in the later stages of this game.
And look, we know that Ashe is an ADC, but she is one of those ones that doesn't have the most damage really towards that late game. Really, the big thing is that Xayah does have a lot more. That is a damage threat right there. Prayless is also a damage threat. Syndra is definitely going to be a damage threat.
Yep.
When you look at Team Noxide, I really don't see someone that I'm going to be super threatened by towards that late game, except in those big team fights. Because yes, Orianna does do a lot of damage, but she's still not going to be doing as much as Syndra can in that, you know, upfront manner.
We're going to have to keep an eye on these win conditions changing. With the Team Noxide surprise us, and I guess it has to be perfectly executed. I guess the shockwave has to land then.
Yeah, everything needs to be execution-wise in terms of Team Noxide. Whereas Sin Academy, they find one error, they don't need to execute well on that. All they need to do is unload their damage, and they'll get the kill out of it.
Unload the Toad.
Unload the Toad, definitely. That's why, fortunately, Tom Kench was benched.
Tom Kench, yeah.
So, and it was intelligent for Team Noxide to ban that away as well. You do have an Ashe, you do have a lot of pick on the side of your team. You want to get rid of someone who effectively nullifies that.
Course in 7.13, everyone definitely moving away from the Renan's Hurricane, and Phantom Dancer just seems like it's the way to go.
Phantom Dancer, Shiv.
Yeah, Shiv on Ashe. You going Shiv on Ashe?
I'd still go for probably Phantom Dancer in this team composition, but Shiv is typically the one you like to go for. The reason why you don't get it on Ashe is because she already has that natural wave clear and volley.
Whereas, you know, some of the other ADCs out there who don't have as much wave clear, instead of going for Runaan's, they've opted in for the static shift, so they've got that wave clear. That's why Runaan's was so good.
But he went Runaan's anyway.
Sombre,
defying everything. But we have seen the rise of Double Zeal come back in. We have seen most AD carries now will go for the Rapid Fire, will go for either the Static as well, or something like the Phantom Dancer. Potentially to see here if Sombre wants to duel more, if maybe just wants to output all that damage, as again, Flash comes through from Mubu, he will get out, and so many resources from Team Noxide.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Everything has to be executed well, and here continues the execution.
He's jumped onto Mubu, bops him.
Not enough.
Real Opal? Sorry, Babushka?
Babushka?
No, Real Opal's in the chat. Everyone simmer down. Babushka, that was an interesting flash. We're going to keep that in mind.
That is an interesting flash indeed. Probably thought he could get in there, but all of a sudden you can see what happens when Team Noxide decide to go for that execution, don't really get the landing that they needed to from that. And that means that they lose the bot lane for it. All of a sudden that is going to be a much bigger Renekton as well, because now he's going to be further up in CES, going to be further up in that experience as well. And now, this is just Baron's a really big threat because they do have an Infernal Drake.
Of course, it's only going to get better here if Sin Academy can keep up the pressure, and if Team Noxide keep overusing. There's a Death Sentence landing, but no one to follow it through. Team Noxide look like they're in the position to start something. 15 seconds till this next dragon comes up. Sin Academy looking okay, but close as no cigar at this stage of the game.
Absolutely right. They're still at that point where no one has really made that definitive advantage that will make sure that they will win this game. And as you can see it right now, everyone's being so vigilant when it comes to warding, trying to make sure they've got control. Sin Academy are putting a little bit of that dominance with that stamp. As you can see, they've got the deeper wards into the jungle right now. Here comes a little bit of a hook that's just not going to land, and all of a sudden that tension that was building up is alleviated.
Potentially looking for the steal. I believe it does go over to someone from Sin Academy. Cameraman, show me the money. Okay, maybe not. Maybe it went over to someone from Team Noxide. Either way, a lot of contention over small, pitiful objectives. I'm going to call Blue Buff pitiful, deal with it. 3k gold lead for Sin Academy at 25 minutes in this game with 2 dragons, and the next one is going to be a Cloud. You can see there's not much priority on it. Sin Academy happy to back off and sort of reset the waves.
Yeah, I really don't see this Cloud being taken unless the teams want to go for a specific timing when you can go for the Elder Drake. What you do is you can go for that Cloud Drake and force an Elder Drake spawn right on that 36-minute mark. And that's something that Sin Academy can go for. They do have 2 Drakes already. Why not get that 3rd Drake? And that makes that Elder Drake a real threat. And all of a sudden now that they have to worry about the fact that they don't have as much control in the bot lane, which means Sin Academy can make a play towards Baron. And the fact that they've got 3 Drakes or 3 Elemental Drakes underneath their belt makes that Elder Drake so much stronger as well.
Now, Syndra efficiency right there. Throw the blue buff into Wolves, get both camps at once. Chaz going to move on back. Hey, if we look at the standings right now, you can see there's one thing that you're going to be threatened by. And you got a Shen who's gone back into Sunfire Cape as per the patches, as per the changes. We've come to expect that that now is a pretty much okay item again. You look at a Renekton who he's yes 1, 2, and 2, but he's got 2 items. He looks like Gargoyle Stoneplate will be next.
Which is your typical build.
Yeah, Tekka provides a threat on this bottom lane. Praelis sneaks the dragon. Next one will be spawning, will not be an Elder. That's 3 elementals for Sin Academy. They hold some kind of pressure on the map for now. Why not create a 4th?
Oh, I hope it's a mountain. That way they've got all 4 elementals. I have to wait and see what it's going to be.
What are you, like an Avatar fan?
I was gonna make an Avatar reference and then just held back on it, and of course you bring it up anyway.
Do you reckon that's what Riot wanted? They wanted an Avatar reference.
Oh no, I don't think they want an Avatar reference.
Hey, but it's so close. Mendrix, fire, water. I don't know the correct sequence. That's a good hook, but Babushka, no one to follow up.
You know what though? I don't think that's the case. I just remembered something. Only 3 Drakes, only 3 elemental spawns can happen at that point in time. So they definitely don't want an Avatar reference.
Only 3 Drakes can spawn, apparently. So that's a sad.
That's a sad moment in time.
Made
Avatar, no, there is no Avatar reference coming. Here comes an arrow.
Okay, that hits a little bit later, but Death Sentence will follow up as well. Easy execution, tries to fly away. Shut down by Team Noxide. They're forcing the fight. Following it through, Jopan gets knocked away and will disengage. Sin Academy lose 1, but is this Baron?
There goes a jungler. Praelis is dead. One of the guys that is so strong at taking, of course, This is an easy barrier for them to take. Xeon Academy really need to go right now before it gets too low.
But they land the death sentence. Babushka gets knocked up. The Feather Storm to come in as well. Tekka on the backline, trying to distract. Team Noxide taking a lot of damage here. They get off the Baron. Shockwave, though, will bring it on back. Team Noxide have to be careful, though. They've got a couple of members low. Chaz is not dumb. Chaz it up, he says, as Squidgy now flies in. Sin Academy want this fight. In fact, they're kind of already taking it. They will lose Praelus, but Team Noxide lose even more.
Now I want to talk about both teams there still being so decisive. As you can see, Jopan, he's not out of the woods yet.
He's in the wrong country, and right now he knows it all too well. The fourth member with only Sombre surviving. Sin Academy, their engage was flawless.
Oh, that was incredible. The Team Noxide thought they had the advantage there when they did manage to pick out Praelus, but that's the big thing. Sin Academy were decisive. Both these teams were decisive. No hesitation in going for those objectives. Land the arrow, go for the Baron. Sin Academy goes, no, we are stopping this right now, and now they're making their way towards their own objective. They see if they can actually pick this up as well.
Baron was just looking so great for Team Noxide. Sin Academy, everyone comes back alive, and Praelus helps pick up that Baron, which was delayed. 29 minutes in the game, and Sin Academy, this is good for them.
And now Sin Academy are well and truly in the driving seat. They've got the Baron, they've got a strong Renekton, and he can be a real split-pushing threat. Let's put him up in the top lane. Add to the fact that you can put pressure down towards you. You got a solid 1-4 from that. And now, I really think Sin Academy just need to run it down a particular lane, and they should be able to take the win off.
Mid.
Team Noxide need to make something happen with a massive pick, and they need to do it before these waves are set up.
If Squidgy is free farming, you know, like a Tom Petty record, he will do so much. This guy's got 3 items, and he's built for the late game, baby. So we're going in, Sin Academy, with an 8k gold lead that is only just growing, maybe 7,000, if you can do math. I can't. Individually, it's just growing and growing and growing, and especially in the mid lane, bottom lane, top lane. It's quite nuts.
It is quite nuts. And we're talking about Squidgy being that late game insurance for Sin Academy, and really, now they're making their claim. They're getting out there and saying, you know what, Team Noxide has thrown a little bit at us now, but bringing out the big gun. Squidgy, have you got your 3 items? Yes, I do. And the fact that they've got all these extra objectives available towards them, they're going to continue to push on in, and you can really see that they're beginning to put the screws down now. Get that extra warding out so there's no flanks that can come through from Team Noxide. That's the big real threat now for Sin Academy. They managed to nullify that by doing that in place. You've got Renekton again down in that bot lane, as mentioned before, and he's going to keep on putting a lot of pressure up from that. And now it's just going to slowly happen. Team Noxide need to make a play happen in the next minute or so, otherwise Sin Academy can take this game just off this Baron power play.
But will Team Noxide's pick mean anything at this point?
Absolutely. If you manage to stop them from taking these objectives like they are now, especially if you stop them from cracking the base, you can continue to farm up and get towards that juicy point where your team composition is so strong with team fights.
But you need to get Chaz or Squidgy.
Oh, yes.
But even more than that.
3 priority targets. You need Praelus dead as well.
So how do you do that right now? Team Noxide, see an Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Feather Storm to dodge. But that means 2 ultimates down, 1 on each AD carry.
They managed to hold it down there. That mid lane is so low now. I wouldn't be surprised if Sin Academy just bring everyone there right now. Looks like they've set up a 1-3-1 instead and just continuing to pull Team Noxide thin.
Team Noxide did not enjoy this whatsoever. Praelus sitting in between this 1-3-1. And it is simple mechanical work for Sin Academy where the dragon probably doesn't matter. The siege is continuing to happen. Chaz even picks up Jopan on the backside. And now they're going to get bottom as well. And his inhibitors are falling down, and Sin Academy switch on like an electric toothbrush.
And this is what I was talking about with Sin Academy. Everything looks so close for these guys until it gets to that late game, but they might have found a pick here.
They found a pick onto Tekka. Remember that Jopan is still dead, so that ult's not available, and second inhibitor goes down. The third inhibitor turret will go down. Now there's only one inhibitor standing in their way. It looks like it's easy access for Sin Academy.
And this is what I was saying, Team Noxide, again, were not able to find the pick that they wanted to within that next minute to 2 minutes, and all of a sudden Sin Academy have got 3 inhibitors down. That's pretty much game.
Oh,
look at Chaz.
Chaz says, see you later, alligator. Babushka. Back to Russia. The Sin Academy will continue to try and close this game out. They're not really backing.
8 minutes ago, Chaz was pretty much 0-2-4. Now the man's 5-2-5. He's absolutely popping off. Look at all the damage they're doing.
Both gets ignit and has to run. There we go. Tekka, run for your life. Or maybe go on in. As Sin Academy will find Jopan again, not having the greatest of all games. And with that pick, this has looked very easy in the last portion of this game. Everyone is falling down. Sin Academy are playing with their meat. That's right, not their food. The other way around. If you want to quote me, at LOL Hysterics, because Team Noxide shuffle on back. And that'll be game to Sin Academy.
And it all comes down to those decisive plays, but Sin Academy were able to seize that moment. They had that instinct to go in and say, you know what, we need to take this fight now. We may not have our jungler available to us, but if we stop the Baron and get the kills, we'll take the game from it, and they definitely did.
I feel like that game was just... I don't know what to say, Preacher. You're going to have to fill me in. Team Noxide just kind of... boop.
Yeah, they did, but on the other side, I don't think that Sin Academy should be particularly happy with this win either,
Fair
because
enough.
the way that they executed it was not optimal. So let's take a look at what they were talking about, and I want to echo a point that Mendrick said in cast. Before really the last 8 minutes of the game, Chaz was 0, 2, and 4, so he was barely on the map at all. He didn't have any resources allocated to him. Why not? Let's have a chat about that. In the early game, you have a Renekton, you have a Kha'Zix as well. Both those two champions were unlocked so early in the game. 9-minute first turret means that Renekton could just roam everywhere. What happened 1 minute afterwards, 10 minutes? There was a skirmish in the mid lane. Renekton could have just teleported in. He had teleport up. Unfortunately, didn't do it, so his team wasn't accelerated. Chaz couldn't be open up for the rest of the whole fight. And yeah, you could just see that come later into the game, especially at 28-minute mark, they decided to fight, and natural scaling went towards Sin Academy. But they really did need to have that flow down effect to make sure everybody was unlocked much earlier.
I like how you talk about that flow effect, because it felt like neither team had it until it was, one mis-executed team fight, and it creates so much synergy, so much snowball potential for Sin Academy. As much as I want to say that Team Noxide had part of that early game, it just never felt like it was safely secure.
And it does come back to what Preacher said. Imagine if they did give those resources to Chaz. All of a sudden, as soon as he had, I guess you could say, all that pressure off his back, kill after assist just dropped straight into his lap. And it means that this is something that you do need to watch out for if you're going up against Sin Academy. And this is someone Sin Academy really need to make sure they can prop up to take advantage and really show that they are not just a top 4 team, but these guys want to take it the whole way.
Well, that is going to be a win secured by Sin Academy. But coming up next for you at home is Legacy Genesis taking on Lynx Esports. These are two rising teams which haven't found their way into the top 4 yet. We are looking at Legacy Genesis to come out over top. But will Lynx surprise us again this week? You're going to have to find out. 5 minutes and we'll be right back with you.